For the final time this season, welcome to the live match reaction show. Palace 1, Forest 1. The lines will be opening just a second where you guys can call into the show to have your say on the game as well as the season. Let us know. Palace have confirmed that it is done. 11th place finish this season. Manager sacked. Roy's back. Next season, there's lots of question marks raised, but we'll be talking about that and more in this episode. As always, if you do enjoy it, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe to not miss out on future Palace content. Before I start the show, we'll do a season review anyways, where we'll talk about the season as a whole. There'll be a video posted on that. I just want to say thanks to everyone that's tuned into the live match reactions all season long. It's been a pleasure hosting it. Thanks to everyone also that stepped in, the likes of T, AJ, Patrick, Stan, lots of you that stepped in this season. It's been a pleasure. As well as being a frustrating season, it's been an enjoyable one as well. And it's been lots of learning lessons. But look, today it's done. It is done. A long season is over. The lines are open. It has been posted as the pinned comment. So click on the pinned comment to join us live into the show and call us in. But yeah, it's been a long season. I'll be honest with you guys. I was looking forward to the season ending. I know some people may disagree because the football's been decent recently. But it's just been genuinely it's been a typical Palace season, you could say, in a way, because, you know, manager sacked, bring in Roy. We performed well towards the end of the season, but there's been lots of problems and lots of question marks raised behind the scenes as well, going into the next season, which makes it more interesting. But, you know, we were safe pretty much about 5 games ago, or it feels like anyways. And, you know, these games have we've been playing for the sake of 11th or 12th, and we finally finished 11th. So I know what you guys think in the comment section about the 11th place finish above Chelsea. I know some of you are happy about that. And not too far off top 10. Of course, we haven't managed to finish top 10 once again in the Premier League season, and I think that should be the objective going into next season. But considering where we were at the start of April, I would say it's been successful these past 2 months under Roy Hodgson. If you don't think that, then I don't know for you. Like, literally, we could have scored goals, we could have won games, and we've done that comfortably with players coming back into form. And I feel like these past 5 to 10 games or so under Roy has given us a good indication about the future, about some of these players and their potential as well at the club. The likes of Eze. Eze is crazy. Eze about 11 or 12 games ago wasn't even getting selected under Patrick Vieira. And when he wasn't performing to the standards. And now he's an England international, getting called up to the England squad, as well as performing well. So look, let's talk about the season as a whole. So make sure to call it in. Let's get the first guest of the show. As always, if you're enjoying it, make sure to hit the like button, people. It takes a second of your time and helps us out massively. Let's get Alex on first. Alex, it's over.
Hey.
Forest 1, Palace 1. Let's start off with the game first and foremost. What do you make of the game? It felt like, I wouldn't say we were on the beach, but we were a bit more comfortable. If it was the old Palace, let's say about 5 to 6 games ago, I think we're scoring a bit more goals. But, you know, there was sometimes where we missed a shot, we took extra touches, misplaced pass. It wasn't bad at all, don't get me wrong, but we just didn't have
not at all
to get a result.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Like, I thought in the first half, I thought we played really well, minus just like the my goodness, IU made the best save of the day, and then right after that they score. It's like, what are we gonna do about that? And I'm just joking about IU. I think he's been really great this spell of the last 10 games, but today was a little bit tough. I don't think it was the right team to, but who else are we going to play if we're not playing IU? So that's why this next year will be interesting. Like, maybe yeah.
Yeah, look, there was some appearances of Hamada. I'll be honest. When Hamada came on, I genuinely didn't see it. What was I doing? I think we were celebrating in the crowd. There was
he lost the ball once.
I didn't see it. I was like, who is that? I was like, did Roy give an opportunity to a young player? I was like, who's that? Then I realized, it's Hamada. He came onto the pitch and Roy gave him an opportunity. But look,
we wanted it to be Tayo, yeah.
I don't know about you, Alex, but we have also got some very good players as well. You know, looking at the season as a whole, we have got some very good players, like likes of Gay here, Anderson. They always look solid. Of course, we conceded that goal, which I don't know what you thought about it.
It was a beautiful pass by Gibbs White. Like that was part of it. You have to tip your hat at the pass, but once Anderson gets there, it was a nice finish by Iwoni to make it happen. Because I thought that maybe we stopped it by Anderson getting back, but a wonderful pass. That's all I got from that play. So it was
Should we
kind of
take-
like, this is what Forest does well, and it was like we just got like right after the IU play. Yep.
Yeah. Should we start with the negative and let's get over it because there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
me, the negative once again was the striker situation with Edward.
Me too.
I don't know about you, but he basically essentially gave the ball away and then it led to them running and having that shot and having that chance. Maybe we could have done a better defensively, but this is why I didn't get overhyped when he scored that goal. That was a fantastic finish against Fulham. Don't get me wrong. In the last game, was it last game? There's been so many games.
It was, yeah. Our last.
He scored a fantastic. It was a fantastic finish. Don't get me wrong, but this is my problem with him. I'm not getting fooled by it anymore. And overall, forget about front of goal. Some of his touch, some of his passing is just not good enough. Like for me, anyways. Maybe you disagree, Alex, but for me, I don't know what other way to put it. With respect to him, he's just not good enough for Premier League level striker, especially the hold up play.
Personally, so I have a few options. I finally saw Gyökeres during the Coventry game, and he does remind me a little bit of like where Harry Kane goes on the field. He doesn't just stay up top, but he's willing to link the play wherever. I'm not saying that Gyökeres is a Premier League striker. An example of someone who is, I think, like an Iheanacho would be a perfect person up top, because if you looked at the first goal today, he really fed Barnes really well, and that's what he does best, is pass. And I don't know, I felt like he was kind of squandered on that team because of how poor their defense was. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's news coming out today. We'll do Palace news on it. But there's news coming out today that I've seen as well that Mateta's actually asked to leave the club. So what's your reaction to that?
I'll miss the moments I had with him, but it was time. That's all I really have to say about it.
Exactly.
Like he seems like a nice guy, and he should get minutes somewhere where he would be more valued, like a step down. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently he wants to move over back to France, I believe. But I need to look into that story a bit more. I haven't had time to look into it. But yeah, I saw that as well. It seemed like Mateta's asked to leave. I'll be happy with, I'll be happy with that. There's no other ways of putting it. I'll be happy with that. But it makes him, but yeah, not because I have anything towards him, but I'll be honest, it's the same. If he told me Edward was asked to leave, I'll probably give you the same response. I'm saying that, by the way, no disrespect, but literally Mateta scored some big goals for us. And I don't think anyone can take that away from him. He might not score a lot of goals, but when he has scored, he scored some vital goals. Even this season, when you talk about Roy's first game, win over Leicester.
The Leicester game.
Was from, and Millwall in the cup, Brighton. Yep. I remember Brighton away, that flick. So whenever he scored big goals. But then again, just like Edward, consistent enough. But saying that, I think it makes it ever more so interesting in the summer, because if Mateta leaves as well, we know that we needed another striker. Does that mean we go for two strikers? Do we go for one? That's gonna be interesting. But the season as a whole, Alex, finishing 11th, pretty comfortably, we stayed up. But I think that's where I get annoyed the most. The fact that we ended up that again of a relegation. Well, you can maybe make an argument it wasn't really a relegation fight, but we. End of the day, people were singing about staying up under Roy Hodgson. That's the type of season it came down to. But as a whole, from what happened at the start of the season to the end of the season, what would you rate the season out of 10?
I put it on Twitter. I said a 6. I personally think that a lot of it got salvaged by the last 2 months, and no one can deny that. I don't like the banter that I'm seeing that like people would rather have us relegated and start over because we're just not like pushing further. Like, I think more than ever, it is really difficult to like succeed at a European level. And I don't know. Like, I get that Brighton is achieving that and we aren't, and that's like clouding our judgment, but do we really want to go down to the championship? Really? Like, do we want to see that caliber player?
Yeah, it makes no sense, because literally, if we want to start again, we can start again by selling some of these players and
Exactly.
getting the funds are starting to get. We don't need to go down to the championship to start again. But we don't also need to start again. I don't think we're in that bad of a position.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
then again, it's I don't know about you, but going into next season, I reckon we don't need to buy 10 players or so. We just need to strengthen key areas, and it seemed like one of them could be Lerma. Once that's
I'm
confirmed,
very excited about that.
Yeah,
He
that looks
seems like
exciting.
Palace.
Yeah. Once that's confirmed, we'll do reaction video on that. But yeah, Lerma, another right back, and of course a striker. So that's the starters. We need depth, 100%. But for starters, it's them 3 areas. If you target them, I think we improve as a team and maybe keeping Wilf. But today, goodbye to Luca, James McArthur. As a player, both of them they had some very good moments. I think James McArthur, he's been incredible. He's been incredible for the last 9 years. Even when he came on today, I thought he looked solid. Yeah, but going into next season, there's going to be a few goodbyes with players on the pitch. But the manager situation, to wrap it up, where do you stand with it? What happens? It seems like once again, I don't know about you. I don't know if you probably haven't seen it, but Roy spoke after the game to the fans. I'm more leaning towards him saying a goodbye rather than him staying on, based on what he said in the press conference.
It sounded like that. Game. This is my last game, is what it sounded like to me. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think that there's what's that? Sorry.
So would you be okay with Roy leaving? And also, if he was to leave, well, we'll probably once again do another video on it. If he was to leave, where do you rank Roy right now? Even if he's to stay, where do you rank Roy right now in terms of Premier League managers that we've had since we got promoted?
Oh, are you kidding? I must be like Patrick. Like, I'm maybe I don't love him as much as Patrick, but I'm up there. He's got to be number 1. Like, what is the competition? I don't know.
Yeah, literally, I agree.
But
I just wondering. Then again, just to play devil's advocate, the other side of things, without Tony Pulis, is there even a Roy Hodgson in the Premier League era? There is that. There's been managers that you might not think off the top of your head, oh, they've been fantastic, but first season, Tony Pulis done an incredible job. We were destined to go down. That's what people were saying about Crystal Palace. So Tony Pulis done a fantastic job. But yeah, I agree. I think Roy he's done fantastic for the amount of time. He's been with us for a long time now. If you look at it over the years, it's been 4 seasons before this, and now 2 months on top of this. So we're going towards a 5-year mark, which is quite nearly halfway through our Premier League era. But for next season, Alex, what do you want to see differently?
So I would like to see like the same amount of ambition that we showed 2 years ago in the summer market, where we kind of went in a few different directions. I mentioned Gyökeres, but I think like you can't just bank your striker being somebody from the Championship. I feel like you need somebody who's actually like been at one of like the top 5 leagues or something like that. Although then again, Mateta was Mainz, right? So I don't know. You never are 100% sure. So
yeah. Look, Alex, it's all over now. Season's done, dusted.
Yeah,
it's time to go on to
sad
season.
and happy at the same time. Yep.
Yeah, and you know what? There's season's technically over, but it's only in another whole world is starting in terms of next manager. We're going to see what happens with Wilf. We're going to see new transfers. I mean, for Palace, this summer is going to be another busy summer. It's not going to be a relaxing one in terms of, we have to bring in 1 or 2 players. We don't even know who our next manager is. So it's going to be interesting. But look, Alex, before you go, I want to say thank you to you as well for jumping on these streams. You've done it throughout the season. So I appreciate your time, taking your time.
Thank you.
And hopefully we catch up with you again soon.
Yep. Make sure that some other people talk about Will Hughes. He was everywhere today. Everywhere.
You can talk about him quickly. You go quickly.
He's everywhere. I can't. I can't repeat
go as well.
Ted Lasso, but he was every effing where. Yep. All right. Take it easy.
Yeah, and it's like a cult hero at Palace as well. That's the thing with Will Hughes. It was nice to see him on the score sheet. But he said, I think he got this assist as well. But yeah, I didn't even kick Alex off. I think Alex accidentally left. But yeah, Will Hughes is everywhere. Let's bring on Tim next. If you guys want to join us, make sure to click on the pinned comment. Tim, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Uzi
with the goal. It's over. Season's done now. Nice way to end the season, to be fair. We didn't lose. We could have been a bit more clinical, I guess, as I said to Alex just a few minutes ago. But what did you make of the game?
I would agree. We could be a little more clinical. And I might be naive, but I end the season seeing that performance and feeling really positive, D. But before I go any further on that, I did just want to echo some of the comments that were coming in before I came on about saying thank you to you. You've been here every day, man, and you open this up, and it's been great to you and T and AJ and Patrick. This has been fun, so thank you for doing this. Really appreciate it, man.
Really appreciate you guys as well. I really do. I don't say that as I genuinely do, because without you guys, we don't have these shows. It's simple as that, you know. And I'll be honest. There's been a lot of people that disagreed, and I love the people that disagree as much as the people that agree, because this is what I want. You know, it's a platform where you come on and you have your say. There's no right or wrong answer in football. I might think something's completely right, but you have your own say, and that's the way it should be. And I've been thankful to every single one of you that's been tuning in, and it's been a good season. It's been a good season. Of course, next season we're planning to do more and better as well. But thank you to you, Tim, because that financial video, you've been jumping on these streams as well. You've helped behind the scenes. And it's like a goodbye. It's like a goodbye to Crystal Palace. No one's going, but it feels like farewell.
Just grateful.
Just
gratitude.
100%.
But overall, like I do end the season like where I stand on this. The last 10 matches, what I'm most grateful for from Roy and Ray is that there was that really dark period from January to March. And I think we all came into this season, at least I did. Maybe you feel differently, D, but I felt like, man, we have a lot of quality in this squad. We're going to see some breakout performances. Can't wait to see a full season of Michael Elise. Can't wait to see what happens when Ebbs really gets going. And then for long stretches, it was like, that just disappeared. It was nowhere except for really small magical moments like the Elise free kick against Man United, which ends up as goal of the season. But then these last 10 matches, D, including this one, we got to see quality. We got to see like, okay, I'm not crazy. Crystal Palace as a team has a lot of quality in this side. No, we're not perfect. We make mistakes. We're not perfect in the final third. We badly need a striker. I mean, all of that is true, but boy, is there a lot of quality in the side, and there's a lot of fight and a lot of belief in the side. There's one of the fan podcasts I listened to, the FYP podcast. They had a special with Kevin Phillips. And they got him talking about Roy and just the idea that Roy is a man manager and what it's like to be a perfect man manager. And was the description of Roy. He's like, he's going to have a go at you. Sometimes you may not see that in the press conferences, but he'll do it, but he doesn't do it a lot. So when he does it, it really matters. Most of the time, though, he's building up your confidence. And I think you could see that in these last 10 matches. So I think we ended well. I would have liked to win. I think we maybe lacked a little bit of clinical finishes here. And then both Edouard and Mateta it would have been nice for them to take that ball and actually put it on target, but didn't happen. So be it. We've seen that a lot. But overall, this is a team that believes. And I feel like maybe, you have a different view of this. Once we went one down, I was like, I think we're fine. I think we'll get the equalizer, and I hope we get a 2-1 win. I felt really good that we were in the game. We were in the match. I never felt lack of confidence.
Yeah, we kept possession for the majority of the game, but it was just in the final third. I was a bit worried, I'll be honest with your team. I wasn't as confident as you. I was worried that it's going to be one of those games where we're just not going to be able to score. Like we was getting to the final third, but there was like moments, I think, in the first half where I think Eze had a lot of room and he just took an extra touch where normally Eze would finish that. So in the back of my mind, I was thinking, based on these chances that we're missing, not that I won't ever say, well, they might be on the beach, but it's not like a bad thing. But it's just the fact that it's the final game of the season. We're not as turned on. I don't expect them to be 100% turned on like it's the first game of the season or like we're staying up. So I thought it might be one of those games, but the goal scorer, Will Hughes, he gets out of everyone. And that was fantastic to see. But in terms of you, what do you think of, Eze, Elisa? Elisa once again gets an assist. The choreo
that's
solid,
11 for the season.
11 for the season. And we're talking about, I think I saw a stat out there suggesting that no other under 21 player in the European top divisions has got more assists than Michael Elise, which
you might
understand.
Bukayo Saka maybe ahead of him.
So how old is Saka? So Saka.
You know what? Actually, I don't know that for sure. You may be right.
So yeah. So I don't. Yeah,
you may be right.
He's had a very good season, anyways. That's why he's been linked with the likes of PSG. But yeah, as you said, I think there's a lot to build from this team, but there's also stuff that could go wrong if you don't act right. The next manager has to be the right one, because as we saw, confidence plays a massive part to these young players. And one thing that we don't really talk about is, yes, Eze's got talent, Elise's got talent, but they're still learning on the job. Like, they are not experienced vets. They've still got room for potential to grow as people, as football players. And I think we've seen that throughout the season. I think Elise, for example, his season, how he started it, not that he started it bad, but how he started his Palace career. I remember he wasn't playing as often under Vieira at the start anyways. He's still young. That was the excuse. But he's turned into a fantastic defender as well as an attacker. Him putting in a challenge. Even Eze putting in challenges as well. So these players
put in a great challenge in the middle of the park today.
Yeah. And they're growing as a team. So I think it's important that, our next match has to be right. So, Tim, would you want Hodgson to stay in next season? Where do you stand with? Because I'll be honest, I thought today and what he said in the press conference, it feels more of goodbyes rather than I'm staying. I don't think it's over. I can see the situation of Roy Hodgson staying, but how he's been speaking, it just feels like he's gonna go. But then again, I could see him staying for another season. So where do you stand with that situation? Roy for another season? Would you be okay with that?
I would absolutely be okay with it. I'd be okay with it, but I want us to be on the hunt for a manager that wants to take this squad and build it from where it is. Like, I want the manager that wants us. So I do really want us looking for the next manager. But if we can't find the one, like the mistake for me, and I've said this before, is if we go with a manager that wants to have their way and remake the squad in their image, I do not want that. That I think is a mistake. I don't want the Jose Mourinho model. I want somebody who can look at our squad, see what we have, see how they can improve those players and build some around them, and then take us to another level. If we can't find that manager, then I am absolutely happy to see another season of Roy, because Roy does think like that. Roy does look at what we've got, and he's trying to take what is Crystal Palace and build that. And so I'm looking for the successor to Roy who has the attitude of Roy, right? So I don't necessarily have to have Roy again. I'd be really happy with a great successor, but I want somebody who thinks about our club the way that Roy does. Does that make sense? I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense. But I don't think in the first place that we'll get a manager. Look, that's why you have talks with managers, right? You have to find out what they want to achieve, and they have to fit our philosophy. So I'm not really worried about having a manager that's going to come in and say, you know what, I'm going to build my own squad, because I don't think Palace will do that. That's why we have a sporting director in the first place.
That's right.
Friedman, who controls the recruitment and has to make sure the next manager that we get in fits the squad rather than the squad fit into the manager, And we're building a squad. We're building a philosophy of how we want to play. So the next manager, I think, if it ain't the right one, then I could see Roy Hodgson staying. On top of that, what about Wilf? Do you think Wilf will be leaving? Because as the days are going by, I can see him staying more than ever. And after the game today, there was literally no indication from the club. This is the thing. People look at every little thing with Wilf.
I know.
He's got a mural. He's staying. He drove past Selhurst Park. I think he loves it. Like, just we look at every small thing. But in all honesty, I don't think Wilf has made up his decision yet. I
don't think so either.
He has. I don't think Wilf knows where he's going yet, or if he's going to stay or not.
Yeah, it was nice to see, at least here on the US feed, they were panning to him a couple times in the box, and he was clearly watching the game. I think he badly wanted to be out there. He's a player. He wants to be out there. I don't know. I think I agree with you. I think he's undecided. The most important thing for me is that I love that if Wilf stays, it's going to it's going to be because he wants to be a part of this team. And if he wants to go, that's his right. And we don't need him at the same level that we used to need him. Now we still need a striker. I think you could absolutely argue that if we had because the reason I was going to say this before, D, but the reason I was a little more confident than you and what I like about what we're doing under Vieira, one of the things I have such gratitude to Patrick Vieira, but this was one of the things that's a difference that I have seen between Vieira ball and Roy ball this season. Under Vieira, we had a lot fewer people running into the box. They weren't running into the box. No confidence running into the box. The reason I felt like we were going to get the equalizer with Forest, there are people running in the box. Hughes is running into the box. Ebbs is running into the box. Edouard wasn't getting on the end of the ball, but he's running into the box. You have 3 to 4, even 5 players running into the box at times. And so when you're doing that and you get numbers in, you increase the odds you're going to get a shot on target, and you get enough shots on target, you get goals. Like that's a big difference between where we were and where we are. And so when I look at this squad and I look at how we play, I like how we play. I'd love for Wilf to stay. And if he goes, a striker is even more important. But I mean, it's not the end. It's amazing. It is truly amazing that we did not have even, I think, the highest scorer amongst the strikers. Did Edouard get 5 goals? He might have 5 goals. Let's say this. At most,
I can't remember them, but yeah.
I know. At most, right? At most, we have a 5-goal striker and we finish above Chelsea. Let that sink in for a second.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
AJ's been messaging me as well saying we finished about Chelsea. Unpopular opinion, but it's nice to finish about Chelsea. But I mean, we finish above Chelsea after they've been in shambles. You get it? Like, their worst time is when we finish above them. So I'm not gonna over celebrate. I'm more happy about finishing 11th. But yeah, I know what you mean. We finish above Chelsea. We finish above West Ham as well, another London club, but they're also going for European trophy. But yeah, I think next season a good cup run. But the funny thing is, even if it's Roy, if Roy was to sign once again, of course we'll do a stream about it. But he said in an overlap, he opened and he said that this squad should be aiming for top 10 if you have a few other additions as well as so I think that not pressure, but I think the expectation is going to be on him next season, regardless of who the next manager is. Even if it's Roy, if it's another manager, we shouldn't talk about our word relegation. We shouldn't be mentioning that. I think this squad should go past that phase, or this team should go past that phase. Of course, you've seen it. Leicester's won the Premier League and now they're relegated. Leeds also relegated. It's not an easy league. It's not a league where, the longer you stay, the more comfortable you are. The longer you stay, there's other teams that come through, new teams, new management. Like, you have to be on point. But I don't think we should focus on relegation next season. Staying up, another season of staying up and being happy about that, I think would be mediocre. I'm saying that I'm not expecting the top 10, but we need to be a bit more comfortable. This season, we had that moment of that fear. Like, even some people didn't expect us to go down. We had that fear. Or potentially going down. That's why Roy came in. That's why Vieira got sacked. And next season, I don't want to go through that again. And on top of that, we need a decent cup run. We need something this year. That's what I'm saying. I don't know about you, Tim, but this is why I'm happy that the season ended. Because one, we stayed up at the end comfortably. And two, we didn't have any cup run or anything to focus on like that. We got knocked out the League Cup by Newcastle. The FA Cup was absolutely shambles because it was Nathan Jones at Southampton that knocked us out.
I know. That was Vinny's worst game for sure.
Yeah. And then we had like 5 or so, or you can mention 10 or so good games under Roy, but that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the highlight of the season, which is why it's been a bit frustrating. That's why more time here, instead of celebrating, we're being here as a therapy after games. And next season, I want us to be, celebrating, looking up the table rather than hoping that Leeds don't win a game or hoping that Leicester don't win a game, because we had that moment at the start of April. It was looking at other results.
Yeah, no, that's true. I'm with you on that. I will say though, this may be just the conservative finance guy that's in me here, D. So just, take this with a grain of salt. I like the way that we are building, and I like that we're not trying to hit the gas too hard, because in a way, that is what Leicester did. So Leicester, they're going to get parachute payments going down, and they're going to owe essentially all of that money to an investor. They're going to owe it to Macquarie. It's not going to help them rebuild their squad. They're screwed.
Yeah.
So, that is a team that did step on the gas, got really irresponsible, has paid the price for being really irresponsible because they couldn't build this year. And then they were in denial because they have a lot of quality players. And now look where they are. They're going down. So for me, yes, I want us to push into the top 10. I want to see a great cup run. But I like the fact that we are doing slow and steady progress. And we're going to have probably next season, I would guess, I'm hoping we're going to see some players from the academy make a go of it in preseason and be squad players next season. I think Teo's a good shout at that. Killian Phillips might be. David Ozo might be. There's a couple. I don't know if Jess will be, but even if they're not, there's players now that are going to go out, and we could have 3 to 4 players going into either the top level football on the continent, Ligue 1, Serie A, Belgian First Division, Eredivisie. We could have that. We could also have 3 to 4 in the Championship and League 1, and that's a very good place for us to be. And if we recruit well, and I like the Jefferson Lerma signing, then I think we're probably doing what we're supposed to without overbuilding. We're probably not going to recruit with analytics the way some of our competitors are, but our academy is world class. Our academy is better than our closest competitors. And so that takes more time to deliver for us. But you know what? That is killer. Remember, man, we are the team. I saw this stat today, and I'll leave you with this, D. We are the team that got promoted with a starting lineup 10 years ago with a total transfer spend of, did you see it? Do you remember the number?
I think 2.5 million.
2.15. 2.15.
Yeah, even less than what?
Million pounds. That is bananas.
Yeah, and it was like the Luton of what we expect people of Luton right
even
now.
Better
like
than
Luton
that.
Right now. Yeah,
even better than that. Even better than that, because it's 3 years before the club was about to disappear forever. So even better than that. So I think we're doing things right. But let me leave it at that, man. It's good to see. I love that. I can't wait till we do more. I'm sure we'll do stuff during the summer. But I'm happy.
It'll be interesting.
I'm happy.
Yeah,
man.
Funny enough, by the way, for people that wasn't at the game, I'm not 100% certain, but I think Blitzer was at the game. So one of our owners, Blitzer,
is that right?
Seemed like he was at the game. Yeah. So
he doesn't have the Sixers in the playoffs, so he might as well be.
Not Harris, but Blitzer. I'm pretty certain Steve Harris, because he came onto the pitch, and afterwards we saw guys with suits, and then I was like, that guy seems familiar. You know when you recognize a face?
Yeah.
Like Blitzer. So it seemed like Blitzer was at the game as well, which is good to see, because we've rarely seen him. So that was a positive as well. But thank you, Tim. I'm pretty sure we'll catch up over the summer as well. There's gonna be a lot of
We
content,
absolutely will.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man.
All right, then,
take
Tim.
it easy.
All right, then. Take care. All right, then. See you
too.
later. If you guys are enjoying the show, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, people. It takes a second of your time and helps us out massively. Also, you can call into the show live by clicking on the pinned comment. Let's bring on the next guest, Henry. Henry, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Season ended 1-0 to Forest. What do you make of the game?
Yeah, it was a bit of a on the beach feel to the match, I thought, but yeah, it was just it's I sort of agree with what you were talking about with Tim in terms of the game was just we started okay and then sort of tailed off, and Forest were really hard to break down. I thought they just had 5 at the back and we couldn't really we couldn't really break down and use our creativity because of that. So I'm just glad that we didn't lose and that we finished above Chelsea.
Yeah, so finish above Chelsea. What are you very happy about that, or are you just we finished above Chelsea? Is it one objective that you're looking at going?
I'm happy about it. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't want to not. I thought if ever there's a chance to be above them, it's now. We don't get that chance as Palace fans very often. So I wanted us to take it. So that's why I was really glad when Hughes scored. But yeah, I'm feeling emotional. I'm not gonna lie, because Luca and Maka, such great servants to the club, been with us for a long time. So that was emotional at the end. I'm not gonna lie. I was sort of holding the tears back.
especially Luca. I mean, Maka is understandable. We'll feel emotional, but Luca is a bit. There's been a divide in the fan base about, especially recently, is he good enough? Is he this? Is he that? And I feel like as it went on, some people just saw him as saw him negatively. Every time he played the pitch, but he just showed it's crazy. 198 appearances for Palace. I could never.
Yeah.
It feels it feels more than he actually played, but it shows how long he's been at the club, and he put some good performances. But both of them players are going to be a massive miss to the dressing room in terms of experience.
Yeah.
But going forward, looking at the season as a whole, who was the highlight of your season? If you had to pick one player.
That's a hard one. I mean, I would say either.
There's a few of these youngsters that's performed. Yeah. Ebbs or Elise. Yeah.
Richards has done. Richards has done really well, but we've rarely seen him. Decore is fantastic. Yeah, Decore is a good shout as well, because I think he rightly won Player of the Season, because without his work in the midfield, we would have been. Well, we would have been completely. I'm trying not to swear here, but yeah. We would have been.
Feel free to say whatever, man. Feel free to say whatever. It's fine.
Well, we would have been. We would have been fucked. Let's face it. Because we don't really have a better midfield presence than Decore. So that's why he's so vital to us, protecting the ball, keeping the ball, and his work just tracking back and making crucial tackles to prevent the opposition from. Attacking, and I'm sure we would have conceded a lot more goals if it wasn't for him. So, yeah, I mean, I think Decore deserves Player of the Season award, but in terms of attack, Elise is a special. He's a baller. He's an absolute baller. He's a special player. And Eze, honestly, I have never seen such raw talent, apart from maybe Wilf. Him and Wilf run it close, but even with Wilf. When Wilf was first emerging, I know he was very young when he first emerged, but in the later years, I mean, in terms of maybe the 15-16 season and 14-15 and stuff like that, I feel like with Ebbs, he's just got such a natural ability to weave between players, and he's like he's dancing with the ball. And I've never really seen that with any other player. So I think Eze has something very, very special. So.
And look, there was when you look at his performance at some points of the season, you was thinking as Achilles just absolutely ruined him because he had that injury, right? That nasty injury.
Exactly.
But then again, I think Aze's.
You got to give him even more credit for that, because it's just a testament to not only his ability to recover from that injury, but his character. I mean, the amount of mental strain that must have put on him to come back from such a bad injury, an injury that stopped him from getting in the England's team for the Euros, I believe. So
Yeah.
I mean, that is just unbelievable. And when you look at the stats pre-Hodgson and post-Hodgson, it's like I can't believe how different they are, and it really just goes to show that just certain managers just get the best out of certain players, and that's definitely the case with Roy and with Eze. Like the two, they're just a perfect marriage.
So talking about managers, I'm talking about looking ahead to next season. Now that the season's over, that's it. Would you like Roy to stay, and would
No,
you?
I think
Do you think Roy will
my
stay?
thoughts. I think you know my thoughts, Steve. I've said it before. I think today is the perfect day. Great send off for him. You know, he can ride off into the sunset. The sunset's here. Actually, it's nice weather. There is literally a sunset outside, so it couldn't be more perfect. Like literally, metaphorically.
Perfect scenario, literally.
Yeah, literally. So it looks like to me that he's judging by the way that he's speaking, applauding the fans. I don't think he's expecting to be asked to continue on, and I think that's the way it should be. I think he came to do a job. He's done that job, and I think at some point we have to move on. I mean, we're lucky that he was in the position where he wanted to come back, because he could have easily turned it down. He could have easily said, "Look, I'm happy with what I'm doing now, retired, no stress." But he came back because he loves the club, and he didn't want to see us get relegated, or at least potentially get relegated. So, I think it's time to look in a new direction now for a new manager, and I hope that the club can do that. It's obviously a huge summer with player recruitment. I'm pleased with Jefferson Lerma, by the way. I think that's a good signing. I think we need defenders. When you look at our back line, it's a good. I mean, Anderson and Guehi, brilliant partnership. But then you look at our right backs, Ward and Klein. Wardy can't go on forever. Klein isn't a good enough consistent performer for me. So right back needs addressing. We've got Richards as a backup centre back, which is good. But our other backup centre back is Tompkins. So we need to if we're not going to get rid of Tompkins, get someone in who's going to be better than him. And then left back, like, we can't, I'm sorry, but we're a established Premier League club now. That means that we can't afford to have only one left back at the club, like, effectively. Jaro can play there, and Schlapp can play there, but neither of them two is a reliable option. So, we need to.
Well, Adamola potentially next season. Adamola next season could potentially be that backup option. It depends on how he performs in pre-season. He has to show himself.
I'd be all for that, to be honest, because I think he deserves a chance at a Ramona. I think he's done really well for us, and if he comes into the team, whoever the next manager is, I think that would be a welcome thing. Like, because Mitchell needs. I mean, competition will just make Mitchell play better anyway. So even if it's a left back, not to directly replace Mitchell, just to give him that competition, which will raise his game, is something that we need. So I mean, I'm happy with the season overall. It feels strange because we've been so bad for most of it. Like, we started off all right, and then we just had this massive malaise, like this massive period where we were just rubbish for ages. And then suddenly it's like, like you said, the Cups were a disappointment. And then suddenly Roy comes back, gets, 18, I think it's 18 points from the last 10 games. And then all of a sudden the season doesn't look too bad on the whole, because, last season we were 12th and now we've finished 11th. But I think I think it's just a huge summer ahead, because, like, I'm happy about the season, but if we don't do the right things in the summer, then I do worry, to be honest. I do worry. And I think Wilf is probably going to be going as well. But I think, we just need to. I'm so thankful for Wolf, honestly, and he's done so much for us, and he deserves every single bit of credit. And he just goes with our. If he goes, then he leaves with us. And I just want the world to see how good he is, like literally, because sometimes I feel like he gets a bad rep because people say, "Oh, we lack ambition" and all of it. It's an absolute load of nonsense. That guy is one of the best players in the Premier League, and I really hope that if he does go, he can win stuff that his talent deserves. Because man, Wilf is just I've never seen a player like Wilf. So yeah.
I reckon with the Wolf situation, I reckon we don't find out for another few weeks. I don't think it's gonna happen next week because there's still time. Yeah, that's the assistance options, and I said it
there's still
before.
time.
I don't think he's made up end yet. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So he might end up staying.
I think you're right. I don't think he's completely made up his mind yet. But having said that, I feel like he's leaning towards a departure, though. Like I feel like he's not quite there yet. But I don't know. It's a weird one. I feel like he sort of is, but because he hasn't announced it officially, then there's always that little question mark. There's that element of doubt about it. So it's up in the air.
Yeah, of course, 100%.
Look, I think
it'd be foolish to
whether
say,
he leaves,
or Wolf is 100% staying or not.
Yeah, but whether he stays or goes, I think we're in a good position to build a team without him for once, which is good. But I mean, I just want to give huge credit to Roy Hodgson, because myself included, I was not best pleased. I did not have the best reaction to his return, but when I thought about it as it sank in the next few days, I was like, you know what, I think this makes sense, and that's proven to be the case. But I mean,
he's done fantastic for us in the Premier League era, especially since we got promoted. Forget about these 2 months. I mean, these 2 months have been fantastic, but if you look at his time at Palace, yes, there's been some times that hasn't been great. Yes, there's been some times where it might be unpredictable, but I don't think anyone can say anything really bad about Roy as a man or what he's done for the football club. I think majority of fans respect him. It's just when do you kind of move on and start building for the future, because he's not going to manage forever. Like there is that. It's not any different between me, you, and anyone else. There'll be a day where he calls it. He says, enough is enough. I don't want to manage. So you have to start planning ahead for that. But yeah, look, Henry, really appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll catch up again soon over the summer.
Massive thank you to Roy, and it's been a pleasure to be part of this channel once again. So thank you, D, as well. I think it's been a great year, and I'm just going to go and recharge my batteries now, forget about Palace for a little bit, and then we'll go again next season.
Yeah, 100%. You're not the only person. I can't wait to do that as well after this. But Henry, take care. That was Henry having to say. If you guys want to join us live, click on the pinned comment to have your say on the game and the season as a whole. Let's bring on Dan next. Dan, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. I'm good. And yourself, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm kind of relieved. I think that's the word to use for me anyways. I don't know about you, but I'm relieved that the season's over. When you look at the season as a whole, the expectations going into the season and some of the stuff that we went through. I mean, it might sound like we're spoiled, but we had a fantastic season last season, a good cup run, very needed to finish top 10, and this season it just didn't match expectations. But look, there's been some positives in the season. I think positives has to be the last 10 games. I think this period has been good in terms of players stepping up, getting results, and there's also been some negatives like not winning a game for about 3 months. But for you, let's talk about this game first. What do you make of the game? Did you think on another day, if we were a bit more switched on, we could have got a result?
Yeah, it's a bit average, really, wasn't it? You know what I mean? As they didn't get really involved until the second half, and he just seems to be the link to everything at the minute. Michael Elise again had another fantastic game. I thought Will Hughes was absolutely unreal as well. but yeah, you know, it didn't really matter that much, did it? You know, it was just a. I think it was just like, oh, thank God, season's done. We're both safe. Let's just let's just knock the ball about and let's just have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, yeah, and we did have fun at times, despite us struggling, especially under Roy. And there's a comment by MTB. He says almost like 2 seasons won. Roy surprised me with this better style of football, so congratulations to him. Though when Roy joined, you was a, I don't think, as far as I can remember, you wasn't a massive fan in terms of I wasn't as well of the decision at the time. Of course, emotions were high and all of that, but it worked out in the end. So, what have you made of Roy's time at Palace? Have you been surprised, like MTB?
Oh man, I've been madly surprised. You know, you picked up I think it was 18 points out of a possible um 26, I think, or something like that. I'm not 100% sure,
Yeah,
but
I need to
picking
double
up
check it.
80, yeah, picking up 18 points anyway. Like that's just madness. You know what I mean? We expected him to come in and like just do just like play his style of football, but he didn't. You know, he's ambitious, and you know he saw the team in front of him, and we're an ambitious side now. You know, like last year, for instance, you know we were pressing high press, and it worked. It worked really well, and that sort of vibe has stayed there. You know, and it's getting the best out of Eze and you know Schlupp as well. I thought had a steadier sort of like end to the season. But yeah, like I think it's fantastic. He's just been allowed to let the reins go rather than just yeah okay I'll just sort of like put round holes in square pegs sort of thing. You know what I mean? And it was nice to see. It was nice to see him. It was nice to see him with a smile on his face and like just let the boys go out and enjoy their football rather than a defensive style.
Yeah, so based on what you've just said about being surprised with how we've been playing, especially with the results as well, Monty's brought it up: 6 wins, 2 defeats, 2 draws. So that's fantastic in terms of as ever since he's been at the club. Would you want him at the club next season?
It's a tough one. As Tim and yourself have put on, and you know maybe a couple of others as well. Like I wouldn't, I really wouldn't mind if he stayed on, and there was no real replacement to replace him. Then I feel we have to keep him on. But if there's a replacement out there that would be willing and able to take the job, I don't even I wouldn't even like to mention the name, but you know if there's a replacement out there which Parish and co feel can move us forward, um, we, I feel we're a top 10 team now by no stretch, you know, and I feel now we just need a manager in place that's going to be able to guide us and cement that top 10.
Yeah, and of course, Will Hughes today, absolutely fantastic. I've even been surprised with his lack of game time throughout the season, especially under Vieira when we literally were playing with one midfielder in terms of Decore for good chunks of the season. Was surprised that Will Hughes didn't get as many opportunities because whenever he's played, I don't think he's been like 10 out of 10, but he's been solid, 7 out of 10, 6 out of like he played like a midfielder should be playing. And today you scored a goal. Have you been surprised about it?
Yeah, I feel he's been unfairly taught, unfairly dealt with. If I'm being honest, he had that absolute worldy game against Manchester United, and yeah, I remember talking to you, D, and like we was like buzzing, going, "Yeah, we found our midfielder, we found our midfielder." But yeah, I feel he's been a bit I feel he's been a bit unfair because like you know, I love Will Hughes. I think he's excellent. You know, I used to watch him in his Derby days as well when Mason Mount was
He used to
there
be like
and
a
stuff
wonder
like
kid.
that.
Like he used to be highly
Yeah,
rated.
he was highly rated and like he went to Watford, bit of a stumble, but I feel next year he could probably kick on. But I don't know. This Lerner signing looks to be over the line, and with that next year, you know, it'd be I would I don't know, but I might even go with Lerner, Decore, and Eze. And then Will Hughes will miss out again. But it's unfortunate because I don't know, but I would like to see Will Hughes get more game time, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing with Lerma Jones. I think it helps Will Hughes in a way as well, because it gives you competition. You can't go wrong with competitions. But also, Jeffrey Schlupp performed well at certain points of the season as well. I know recently, I think he had personal issues, so he hasn't been playing, but he's performed well as well. And if he had competition to that, I think that'd be fantastic signing. You can only look to get more points from that because midfield was a key issue, and if you get that business done, you'll be sorted. But Dan, about the season as a whole, what would you rate it out of 10? Everything considered: transfers, results, manager, behind the scenes, on the pitch.
I'll go like this. Transfers. I would give it a 3 or 4.
We got Decore though, player of the season.
No. Decore has been unreal, but I don't know. Maybe a 7. I'll give it a good 7. Okay. Give it a good 7 because we had a good little window, to be fair, and we've had a good end to the season. We had an okay steady start, and to feel like them games that we lost like in a row in that, but we were always competitive in them games, and it's a tough one, but I would give it a solid 7.
Solid 7, yeah. I'll say, man, when we do the season review show, I'm not going to spoil it because we're going to do a season review show with everyone on. But yeah, I'll say it, man, there. But yeah, look, it's you can look at both ways. You can see it depends on expectations really going into the season. If you based on expectation, but expectations change as the season go on. I think let's just say this. Come April, if it was April, I think lots of people would have gave it like a 3 or 2. If we'd done this in April, but of course, season doesn't end in April. But it was really bad in April. We couldn't get wins, score goals, player confidence seemed down, and towards the end of the season, I think Roy just revived everything, literally. So that was the main positive. But next season, what do you want to achieve then, Dan?
I would like to see a top 10 finish, possible outside chance of like Europa Conference League place or something like that. I would like to see a good like FA Cup run. I would want at least 5 new signings. And yeah, just to be stable and solid and hard to beat like we are at the moment.
Yeah. So yeah, the signings is the most important thing. So yeah, it's about what we do because I think Decore was a fantastic signing in the summer, but we just didn't do enough. I think Lerma would be a good start, but that's not enough in my eyes. We still need to strengthen right back position and up front because it seemed like Mateta could be leaving. It seemed like he's handling transfer requests by the sounds of it. But we'll try to find out more about that as it goes on. But yeah, we'll see. I think it's gonna be a long summer. But look, Dan, appreciate you taking the time. As I said, it's been a long season. You were here when Vieira got sacked. You've been here at the end as well. So really appreciate your time, Dan, and all the best. And hopefully we catch up with you again in the summer.
Yeah, appreciate you too, D, mate. You know what I mean? You do an absolutely fantastic job and let us fans have a voice, and I really appreciate that, mate. Also much love to all the other boys as well that I know contribute really, really hard to the channel. But yeah, this channel's only going to get bigger and better, mate. You know what I mean? And up the Palace, we finished above Chelsea. Get in there.
Up the Palace, get in. Thank you, Dan. All right, then, take care.
Cheers, buddy. Take care, mate.
Cheers. That was Dan. Let's bring on Nick next. Nick, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. Come back from the game a bit late. We started a bit later than usual.
Yeah, what a good atmosphere today. The Forest fans were on fire. The tifo was excellent. The new shirt was flying out the shops. I even bought one myself once I saw it in flesh.
Why are you not wearing it? You should have wore it.
Oh, no, I put it on top of this. But yeah, it was an end of season jolly, wasn't it, really? All the inflatables going around in the away end. I didn't stop round for the end for the parade because, hanging around for 20 minutes. It was my last bit in the main stand as well. I'm going to be in the home stand with you lot next season, so I might even see
Oh, is
you.
it? Okay, so
And
yeah,
actually
you're
found out
right.
the name of the person who sat behind me for 14 years after all this time, because he just shout, you never asked their name. But
Oh,
Will Hughes, performance of the day for me. He was absolutely knackered by the end, wasn't he? Absolutely
yeah.
knackered. But I was so pleased he got his goal. It's just a shame Decore's shot, which was so powerful, just rose and rose and rose. And
Goals coming surely. Well, I would say coming. The
yeah,
season's over. Maybe in pre-season, but he needs to score a goal. Decore is. You can tell as the season goes on, he's getting closer and closer and closer. It didn't happen this season, but I think that's one area of his game. Maybe that Decore, he's got a powerful shot, but I guess he didn't really have that many opportunities on the Vieira. Because I've got the
yeah,
stats up with me to push forward, to have shots. He was more about holding, sitting in front of the defense, holding back. But under Roy, it seems like he's given a bit more freedom, just like the other players, as I believe it was Tim that mentioned it. There's more players going to the box under Roy. And Decore's been, asked to push forward a bit more. So he's had a few opportunities. Against West Ham, he should have scored that goal. But there was a penalty. So it was going to go in anyways if there was no penalty. I'm 100% convinced that Decore should have scored. But it's going to happen soon. It's going to happen soon with Decore. But on top of
yeah,
Decore, Eze, Gahey, Anderson, there's a lot of players to pick out this season. It's been a
yeah.
frustrating, I don't know about you, but it's been a frustrating season personally, due to the expectation we had going into the season. And if we look at the season as a whole, we were talking about relegation. I mean, it's boring. I don't want to sound spoiled, but it's boring talking about relegation after what we had last season and after the plays that we've had as well. It was mediocre in that sense. But we stayed up comfortably in the end. So how would you sum up the season?
Well, it was a season. It was weird when it was broken up by the World Cup. Vieira did well to get us a lot of points before the World Cup, because that kept us where we are through that barren spell of not scoring. But since Roy's come back, what's impressed me most is the number of different players on the score sheet. Luckily, we haven't had to rely on our strikers. We've had, 4 or 5 players putting the ball in. So that's been really good. One stat that I was told today, if we hadn't scored today, it would have been the first time Wayne Hennessy had kept a clean sheet
I
at
saw that as
Selhurst.
well. Surely that's not true. Surely that can't be true. Surely. I need to
But
check that out.
what
But
got me is, I think Patrick mentioned it in our WhatsApp during the game, was we know Hennessy's not that good, although his distribution was a lot better today. I think he only kicked the ball out once. Why aren't we taking shots at him? Because we know he's going to spill it. Take the shot and get in on him, because we know
you
he's
know
going
what
to
it
pat
was?
the ball
The
out.
free kick in the second half when Eze and Elise, it was right at the edge of the box. I was like, we know about his shuffle. This has to go in,
Yeah,
and it just literally, it nearly hit me. Yeah, that's the thing that annoyed me the most. That's the thing that annoys me the most, because I would have loved to see us score a free kick past Hennessy, because that would have just summed up his time at Palace as well. Remember all the
yeah,
shuffling. I remember all the reactions that we used to do. Oh, Hennessy shuffle towards the left. Oh, shuffle towards the right. Why is he so bad at free kicks? Oh, it's going to be a goal. And of course, we didn't score a free kick against him. But in
yeah.
terms of Roy, you mentioned it, Nick. Ever since he's come in, there's lots of different players scoring goals. We're seeing players get the players that were under Vieira that just didn't have no confidence, getting that confidence back. So looking at his time at Palace, the last 2 months, would you want him to stay on next season? Because there's, of course, players that we can talk about, but manager's the most important thing as well. So where do you stand with the manager situation now that season is done and dusted?
I'd rather Roy didn't, unless he can keep the form that he did. But we don't know how he'd do against teams like Man City. And, we lost against a poor Tottenham side. We helped Tottenham break their run, but we totally destroyed Leeds. We
Got
played
relegated.
really well in the games that we've played. Bournemouth was probably the most comfortable win I've seen, although we only scored 2. But I don't see any other manager out there that I could trust. Even Potter, I don't think I'd want him. So that it's a very difficult one, because I can't see a manager, unless we get somebody in from abroad or manage to poach Fulham's manager, that we do. Roy seems to. It was a totally different. I know when Roy first came in, when in his first spell, he got us out of relegation shit, didn't he? And he did it again, but it was completely different this time. And I know he said he's had different players. The players seem to have a totally different positive mental attitude. They were playing with smiles on their faces. I don't know what Vieira and the other coaching staff did, but they just beat the confidence out of the players.
I
How
think they
Roy was
lack
done in
experience.
those matches that we didn't score, yeah. But then you've seen it. Okay, we've seen it with Warnock, what he did at Huddersfield, the old manager that did it. We've seen it with Sean Dyche. All right, he's not as old as them, but he's still bloody old. Allardyce didn't quite manage it at Leeds, but he's got a wise head. So if we can't secure anybody that's good, I wouldn't mind keeping Roy for a year. What was interesting today, and I don't know whether you noticed it, but McCarthy was in the technical box a lot more than he
A
has been
lot.
before.
Yeah. I noticed that as well. A lot more.
Chatting to the players a lot more. So maybe, I don't know if groomed is the right word, but a year with McCarthy there and Roy in the background, perhaps. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
The other
Yeah.
thing that I enjoyed was the IU versus IU, just for a few minutes.
Oh yeah, at that time
At the end of the game.
I'll be honest, I didn't even see Hamada come onto the pitch. Because there was I was in Blocky and there was that chant where you just sit down and then after you get up. I was
Yeah.
literally just sitting down and apparently there was something. I looked up, then I saw Gyro on the pitch and I was like, who is number 29? Then I realized, oh, it's Hamada. He came on.
No,
the pitch
I
as
said
well.
IU. The IU brothers playing against each
Yeah,
other.
I didn't see that.
And
So
then
I
the
didn't see
dads
that
in
IU
the
brother
stand.
come on. I didn't see Andre come on. Yeah, I didn't see that. So yeah, I didn't even see our players come onto the pitch. But yeah,
So if you're their
I
dad in
missed
the
that moment.
stand, who are you going to cheer, dear? Andre or Jordan?
Jordan,
Of course.
because Jordan.
course.
I mean, Jordan's the better player, right? We can all agree on that.
Yeah.
So actually, you probably
Completely.
cheer for Andre because you feel sorry for Andre. But then again, they're not kids. They're grown ass men, so I don't think the dad is gonna like look at let me cheer for Andre. They're grown ass men will probably like kids and the whole family, so I don't think
The day will come, dear, when you're older than the team.
Yeah.
That's the
Slowly
bad day.
reaching
The
that.
oldest player I remember still playing, the last player to still be older than me playing football, I remember, was Teddy Sheringham, and he was ancient.
How does that feel when you become the oldest?
Oh, I don't know. You just get with it. With age comes wisdom, dear. That's what I'm going to say on that
Yeah,
matter.
look, you got a lot of wisdom. I'll give you that. You got a lot of wisdom, just like Roy.
But yeah, the season's a weird one because it was fragmented, and we came good at the end. And when Roy came in, would you have said 11th? When we went
No,
through
so
that parent scale?
So I remember on a Palace News episode, me and T, we spoke about it and we looked at the fixture. I remember we looked at the fixture list and I remember saying worst case scenario, I think we'll get 12 points. So yeah, we managed to get 18. I expected us to pick up points with the players that we have. Okay, let me ask you this: do you think? Because lots of neutrals think that, and maybe some Palace fans do as well. Do you think we would have got the same results under Vieira that we have under Roy?
No, because I think our confidence was shot, and I don't
Yeah, I
think
agree as
Vieira
well.
would have been able to turn it round. And I was
I agree
gutted.
as well.
I was gutted when Vieira went. I mean, we've spoken about it at length before. But Roy came in and he proved every single one of us wrong. I don't know anybody who thought Roy was the right choice at the time. But he was. What do we know? We're only pundits here.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, we'll see next season. But what's your objective then, Nick? We'll talk about next season in more depth. But what was your personal objective for next season after what you saw this season?
Well, Parrish put it in context. He writes a column for the Times, and he said in that column that ever since the Premier League started, teams that have got promoted to the Premier League, only 10 teams have stayed there for a decade after getting promoted. I know we've had 2 spells, but a 10-year run in the Premier League, 11 years, it goes down to 4 teams. So we've got to be careful. Staying up would still be bloody good. I know we want to progress and maybe get into Europe. A third of the league are getting into European competitions now. For Christ's sakes, Brighton even managed it. But that's going to be their downfall. And I think it would have been if we could get through to a European competition, you've got to have a really big squad and a good squad. West Ham have got a good first team. But because of their doing so well in Europe, it's affected how they've done in the league. You look at Tottenham next year, they're not in Europe. They're going to do well, I think.
Well,
I really do. So
I'll be
to
so.
staying
Well,
up his
you think that
ground
by
from at home,
Tottenham, you think that by Tottenham, so God knows what happens. They could end up doing worse. They're weird side. You never know with Tottenham,
yeah, this is
literally.
true. It
But
depends
as
who
you
they get in.
mentioned,
They'll end up with
exactly.
Vieira, I'm telling you.
I imagine. Surely, if you're Patrick Vieira, you don't ruin your whole legacy at Arsenal to manage Tottenham and get sacked by Tottenham like 6 months after. Surely you just don't do that. I don't know. But saying that would be hilarious. That'd be hilarious because I know Arsenal fans would be absolutely fuming. But look, next season, I mean, let's start with the manager and the players. Then afterwards, I think it'll be easier to put expectations. But yeah, as long as we don't fight relegation, I'm worried about relegation. I think that would be a good step. And let me say this. I said this before. So if it's with Roy, my objective for next season will be to push into top 10 because Roy said it himself. So if the manager believes that these players are that good enough, then I expect him to go push for top 10. And I think below that might not be successful, depending on cup competitions. But if we're bringing another manager, I wouldn't say top 10 should be objective. Because a new manager, you need time to adjust to the players, put your message across. So as long as, you know, how Vieira had in his first season, I'll be happy with that. We didn't worry about relegation
Hang on,
Vieira's first
Eddie.
season.
How long did... I know Roy's been here before, but he made an instant impact. And I know he's known the players before, and I know he knows the club inside out. So I suppose if you're saying if somebody's come in who doesn't know the club at all, then perhaps, yeah. But Roy made an instant impact. So there's nothing to say that a new manager coming in can make an instant impact.
Yeah, of course. Well, De Zerbi. Well, I guess it was an instant that he lost his first 5 games or 4 games at Brighton, and then afterwards it changed. Things changed, and now they're playing European football. But I'm trying to be realistic as well. I know that some managers need a bit of time. So if a new manager comes, it depends on who the next manager is. I would be okay with us not finishing in the top 10, but having a solid season, playing, you know, decent football and, you know, scoring goals. I think that's what the fans want to see. Something to build on the following season. But yeah, I think it depends on the manager and the players as well. Because if we bring a new manager and we don't strengthen the right back position or striker position, then my expectations are not going to be high because it could be Pep Guardiola for all I care about. That could be our next manager. But with Edouard and Mateta, you're not going to get as many goals. That's simple facts. So it depends on the
getting a
players.
striker is difficult, isn't it? I mean, the last striker we bought, or the last two, I suppose, were Murray, who was good. Benteke was good for a season.
Benteke's our best striker in the Premier League era.
And AJ before that, but that was
he
was unknown. We swapped him for Clinton. We thought we were getting a bad deal there, and you know he turned out to be great. So
yeah, striker's going to be massive.
It's hard getting a striker. Is there anybody coming through?
Well, it seems like right back is the next position after Lerma once he signs. But yeah, striker, it's not an easy position. But then again, we just have to. What can we do? Like Mateta seemed like, I don't know if you've seen it, but it seemed like Mateta's actually handed in a transfer request. So
he was pony today, wasn't he?
Dude, Mateta or Edouard?
Pony. Yeah, Mateta was, and so was Edouard. I mean, the ball.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say as well. Like you could, they both are. So where do we go? Like we can't have them both. It's being started next season. We can't.
Yeah, and Ward as well. Ward is nearing the end of his time with us as a.
Yeah, he's had some good games though. To be fair, recently he's had some very good games. Remember he was doing flicks and stuff. But then again, him having good games doesn't change my fact. Even if I said this with Nathaniel Klein, halfway through the season, we still need another right back. Like we do. It's been 3 years since we lost Wan-Bissaka, or 4 years now.
Yeah,
and we still have Joe Wood. We can't do that going into next season. I'm sorry, but we just.
I love the way he gave the captain's armband to MacArthur when MacArthur came on. That was a nice touch. Did you see that?
Exactly. Yeah. It was emotional as well. I don't know about you, but Luke and MacArthur leaving, it's not easy. Because we talk about some of these players, especially with Luca. We talk about, we criticize them. We're like, oh, it's not good enough. He's too slow. He's lost his touch. But once he leaves, you realize what he's done for the club, and he was a great servant. When he first came in under Sam Allardyce, he played a massive role in terms of keeping us up. And, you know, I wish him all the best. I wish them both all the best because MacArthur was similar. Mac has been fantastic for us for 9 years, on and off the pitch. But yeah, time moves on. So, you know, there needs to be a next Macca that we have to find out. Maybe he's already at the club. We'll find out. But look, Nick, I really appreciate your time. But we'll catch up.
Well done this season, man. You've done really well. Much better than the watch-alongs.
Yeah. Take care, Nick. See you later.
All right. See you soon, mate.
See you. Let's bring on Oh, next. Oh, you there?
Hello.
How you doing? How you doing? It's been a while. How you been?
Oh yeah, above Chelsea. My household, everyone's a Chelsea fan, so that felt good.
Oh, is it? Everyone's a Chelsea fan. So what made you pick
Yeah.
Palace?
I have no idea. I just saw them, and they're my team now.
They're your team now. Fair enough. Fair enough. Before we start, any other memes coming up towards the end of the season? Is there anything meme worthy?
No, not yet. Maybe a Roy farewell if he does decide to stay on. But if he decides to leave, maybe a Roy farewell meme. That'll be it.
Yeah, potentially. So what have we made of the game today? 1-1 draw. On another day, I think we could have beat them, but you could tell it's the final game of the season. We weren't bad performance, but we just weren't as clinical enough as we've seen in the past. But then again, it wasn't a bad performance as well. What did you make of it all?
I normally just scroll through Twitter because I don't know if I'm a bad fan, but I normally watch us when we're on TV, but I sometimes scroll on TV.
Yeah. So based on what Twitter said, what do you make of the game?
I thought we did all right. Maybe it was a shame to go behind. Are you saving a goal from us and then them going up the other end and score? Just couldn't make that up.
Yeah, for someone who watched the game on listened or read the game on Twitter, I mean, you're picking out all the good moments. It's like you don't even need to watch the game to realize that. But yeah, that was on the other side of the pitch. So I actually didn't see that. I didn't see that Ayew actually blocked Eze's shot. I thought it was just a mistouch from Eze. But let's talk about the season then. Let's talk about the season as a whole.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah. So what have you made of it all?
Been a mixed roller coaster, really. First half of it, like, it was all right. Then post World Cup, it was the worst thing you could have ever imagined. But then post Vieira, it's the best thing you could have ever imagined.
Yeah, exactly. The whole situation. But yeah, so in terms of rating, what would you give it then? Because you're like, we had absolute terrible moments, absolute brilliant moments. 5? How do you balance it out? 5 out of 10?
5.
Yeah. So what have you liked under Roy Hodgson then? Because I remember when Roy first joined the club, there's question marks about whether it would be success or not. But we played some good football, got some good results, and at the end of it, we stayed out comfortably. Have you been surprised?
I was surprised by us playing attacking football that I didn't expect. I thought it would just be the same old lockdown football that we come to expect with him. But the Leeds game, like, that was amazing. That was a great watch. I did watch that.
Yeah, you watched that because it was on TV. Exactly. Yeah. Especially in the second half of that game.
Oh yeah, that was best I've ever seen us play in a long time.
Yeah, especially after how it was before the Leeds game. I mean, under Vieira, it wasn't that great. But look, I don't want to slate Vieira because I was massive Vieira fan. I wanted it to work out, but it didn't work out in the end. But time to move on. Regardless of what happens, by the way, I don't know how you see it, but Vieira also played a part in terms of maybe how good we've been in possession since Roy's come in. I don't think it's been all Roy. Majority of times it has been Roy, but you have to give some credit as well to Vieira in terms of how he set this team up at certain stages of the season. Like, let's say 80% Roy, 20% Vieira. So yeah, I don't think it was literally all Roy. By the way, I'm not. I don't know what you think, but I'm not one of those who think that if Vieira stayed, we would have stayed comfortably. I don't think that because confidence has been massive. But for you, ever since Roy's come in, who have you been most surprised by? Surely it has to be Eze.
Oh yeah, definitely Eze. Elise kind of shined more under Roy, but it has to be Eze because benched for most of the season, and then he's come. Roy's just picked him back up and made him the player that we know that he is, and he's been rewarded with it with an England call-up, which I'm looking forward to, by the way. Hopefully he starts. I mean, we're playing Malta and North Macedonia, so there's a chance he'll play.
Yeah. So do you think this is it now for Eze in terms of like he should be in the England squad? That should be the objective, to be in every England squad. Or do you think with time he might be selected more and more often? Because the way if he continues playing like this, I don't see why not.
Yeah, he should. I think that could be his spot for now on in the England team. Maybe there might be a couple international breaks where he's dropped for someone else. I don't think Madison will be play in the England squad anytime soon, unless he
Well, it
gets
depends if
unless he
moves
gets a
away.
decent move, which
Exactly.
is a 99% chance of that happening. I mean,
Yeah.
Yep, sorry.
Yeah. So looking ahead to next season, then, talking about manager, I've asked everyone this. Well, do you think Roy should stay on? Would you want him to stay on?
I don't want him to stay on, but
how come?
I just think it'll be. I just think it'll end the same way as it ended in the lockdown season. It'll just progress to that style of football, and we'll get sick of it. But I'm thankful for what he did. As to quote that, take that song, whatever I did, whatever I said, I didn't mean it. I just, except for that, I just want you back for good, part.
Yeah, I remember that. But yeah, I agree. You wanted to end on a high, and today he has smiles on his face after the game and look positive. And I just don't want us to. There's that risk. There's always that risk element that you go into next season, it don't work out as well as it did this season, and then potentially, you leaves another sour taste if he leaves the club. Because last time around, that's how we knew Roy, right? When he left the club, it wasn't the greatest. It was like a celebration at times for some people, anyways, when he left the club, because it was just so negative. But he's done a fantastic job, though. He's done a fantastic job for us. But in terms of signings, how many signings do you think we need to push on to the next level?
We definitely need a right back. Striker, because the right back, maybe a left back to compete with Mitchell, because his spot's too comfortable. There's no one to really compete with him other than Tyro, but I doubt he's going to be making any starting appearances for us right now.
Right. Adam Roller, I don't know. I don't know about you. Do you watch Academy? Like the highlights, or you follow it as often? Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, you're not the only one. But Adam Roller seems like he's slowly coming back into the fold. And I watched him in the under-21s game against PSV. And he's looking decent, I'll be honest. He's looking decent enough to be at least a backup option. But I think that plays a massive part to the next manager as well. Because we might rate some of these players, but the next manager might see these players completely differently. Or as we've seen under Vieira with Eze, he was not performing well. And then as soon as Roy Hodgson come in, he's turned into an England international, scoring goals, getting assists, and he's been absolutely fantastic. So I think the next manager plays a massive part in terms of how good some of these players can be, or whether they can play a role next season. But talking about objectives for next season, what do you want to achieve then, based on what happened this season?
Top 10 finish. That's all I want. Maybe some of it competing for the top 7, top 6. That's all I want. If Brighton could do it, why can't we do it?
Yeah, so that's the big thing. Brighton can do it. Why can't we do it? And I think their recruitment's been good. I think that's the one area. I think our recruitment's been solid as well. But we just have to build on it this summer. We really do. Do you think any of these big young players that we have in the squad could potentially leave this summer, or do you think we'll keep them together?
Gay and Lee says the only players I see leaving. Of course, there's that talk about Mateta, but he's not a big player for us, to be honest. No offense to him.
Yeah, well, he's got some big goals though.
Yeah, thanks for the Leicester goal and Brighton goal and kicking as many corner flags as you did, but I think your time's up, mate.
Yeah. So would you be okay with him leaving? I need to look at the news. I haven't read it, but I'm hearing stories that he's potentially handed in a request to leave.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind him leaving as long as we replace him, because then we need another striker. Yeah.
What about Edward?
I've always liked him. I always wanted him. I always wanted him when he was at Celtic, but when we finally got him, he scored those 2 goals. debut season, and it just nothing. It hasn't kicked off since then. But I want give him one more season. If it doesn't work out there, then it's time to move on from him.
Yeah. And then finally, before you go, what do you think about the Wilf situation? Do you reckon he stays?
It's a tough one. Be a tough day if it comes down to him. If it's him leaving, but I think I want to believe and say he's leaving.
You have to manifest it. You have to manifest it. Exactly. You have to say, "Oh, he's gonna stay" for it to stay. You can't think negatively around it.
He's staying.
He's staying. Exactly. 100% staying. Well, today after the game, there was no. I'll tell you that after the game, there was no indication about goodbye Will. But I think that's down to literally no one knowing. I don't think Wilf even knows if he's leaving or staying. That's where I stand with the situation, and we'll find out in a few weeks' time. But any other last words you want to say before you go?
No, I'll do. Finished above Chelsea.
Yeah. Now you can celebrate. You can celebrate all summer. Because all summer until next season, where things might be a bit different. I'll be honest. I'll be surprised if we finish above Chelsea again.
No, Poch coming in for them.
Yeah, exactly. Poch coming in for them, and we don't know who's coming in for Palace, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But look, really appreciate your time this season, and hopefully we catch up with you again over the summer, because I'm pretty sure once we confirm the manager or confirm some of these players, it'll be interesting to hear your views. But yeah, thank you for your support this season.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you. Take care. Woo, we've been on for nearly an hour and a half. But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up now. Thanks to everyone who's called in live. Final live match reaction of the season. Wow, we're here. It's finally done and dusted. And as I said, for me personally, I found it frustrating. I couldn't wait for the season to end. In all honesty, there's no point in me lying. Now that it's all done and dusted, season's ended, but back of the nest, it's gonna be here. It's going to be it. There's going to be a lot of content over the summer with manager situation, transfer situation, and also for next season as well. We're going to be planning for more content and better content. As always, thanks to every single one of you who's been tuning into these live match reaction shows. We really appreciate you calling in, leaving your comments, and even those that's been watching behind the scenes. I know a lot of people that watch that don't leave a comment or call in, but they still appreciate what's going on. So I really appreciate you all. Thanks to everyone who tuned in live today. And if you have enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And until next time, for the final time this season, up the Palace.